Good afternoon. Happy Friday. Oh my goodness. I'm excited. Welcome to Baller Mom feature series. My name is Gifty. And today, or this particular episode or conversation, I'm actually changing it up a bit. We're having it in the middle of the day. The reason behind it, I'll share a little bit later. But I wanted to bring in another mom out here who has been in the Baller Mom community for many, many years. She has a real good experience, especially for those who are looking to get their kids play in the States, living here in Canada, how you're making your financial decisions, because as I said, there's COVID tax going on. It's going to be a real good lunchtime conversation. And I want to welcome everybody that's joining. And I see you there, Desiree. We had a great conversation last week as well. So if you guys haven't seen her feature last week with regards to content creation, I recommend you highly go ahead and watch it. It's on the Instagram IGTV as well as YouTube, which I'm pointing over there on my YouTube channel. So it's shared there. It's available on various platforms. And by the end of the month, I'm also going to have them all audio translated. So it'll be on Spotify and Google Play for anybody that you don't have the time to watch it, because maybe we're all driving from place to place, but you can still listen to these conversations as a way to help and guide you. So let me now invite our special guest, and who will be in experience with the whole Baller Mom community and what she's doing to help us all on this beautiful Friday afternoon here. It's sunny, but it is also cold, and it means that cold weather is here. That's all I can say. It's good and bad. But hey, Samantha, how are
Hey,
you?
how are you?
Friday. Happy
No, happy
Friday.
Friday.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to have you here. It's been a while. It's been a
I
long
know.
time, and we always have great conversation. But you know what? I said we can't keep it to ourselves. We have to be able to share with others on the same journey, various levels. Some are starting, some are in the middle, some are finishing, different stages. But whatever happens, we're all trying to do something for our kids. And also, just a point of view: if any of the kids who are watching, unless you have a PA, please log off, pay attention in class. I'm a parent. I don't expect any of my kids to be joining in right now. You all should be in school, in class right now, paying attention, unless you have a PA day, okay? With that exception. But without any further ado, I wanted you to introduce yourself. Who is Samantha Simmons?
So hello everybody. I am Samantha. I am a mortgage agent, but I'm also a mom. I'm a single mom of three. And then well, I don't know if you guys know him, but I got Jalen Simmons. That's my 15-year-old. He's in basketball, and then I have a daughter, Jada. She's 9. She's in dance, and then I just had a baby, Jace, and he turns 1 next month.
Wow, already.
I know, it's crazy.
Oh man, that's crazy. Oh yeah, somebody say yes on our lunchtime. Yes, because we're
Yes.
flexible like that. We can use our lunch for our
Yeah.
own time and share the knowledge. And of course, like I said, this will be saved for anybody else that misses it, that you can watch and listen to it. And so you mentioned 3 kids, different various activities. We're not sure what Jason's going to be into yet. But you walk through that path when you get there. Where are you based right now?
So I'm in Brampton, just for basketball purposes. My son's always played pretty much in Toronto.
Hmm.
We started out with Scarborough, with SBA, way back when, and then
Wow.
we went to Brampton. They had a house league program out in Brampton. He was there for a couple of years, and then we've been with Toronto pretty much ever since.
Wow. Yes, and the scene in Toronto for soccer basketball team, I should say, sorry. I'm still in soccer mode because I was talking a different conversation about soccer, in which you do play soccer as well
I
too. So you're an ultimate baller mom. You don't just your kids just don't play. You also are as an athlete, and we'll get into that a little bit as well. And they've been playing. Well, he's been playing for a while now. You mentioned a little bit about House League. Can you talk to us about the benefits or experience that you had with House League? And the reason why I'm asking because a lot of different people, everybody assumed, especially in this season right now, which is a tryout season, everybody's trying to make it to a rep team, which is great. But there is always, as all my previous guests have always said before, always check to see where your child is and have that honest conversation with yourself as to where they are before you jump to that competitive level. So if you can go a little bit further back as to how your house lead was and what made you transition from that to the next level.
So, well, you had a post on it, and I went on it. So a comment from Sim Sima. I'm Sim Sima. But basically, so my son started when he was 4. He started in small ball. They would just work on just the basic skills. And then when we came to Brampton, Brampton had their own like house league program. So he would be able to play with other teams. I think there was like maybe 4 or 5 teams every
Mhm.
on the weekends. That's where we were. He was able to develop. Jalen has always played up his age. Like when he started at Brampton, he was 6. And he was playing with like 8 and 9-year-olds. He's been obsessed with basketball. So I knew he needed to go into it, and I didn't know what his skill level was. Everybody's
Mhm.
telling me he's great, but as an athlete, I'm like, let me kind of see it for myself. So we put him in, but we put him in at an older age. So you're playing against older kids. Um, he did that for 1 year. He did house league for 1 year. And then one of the parents on our team, his son was playing rep. And he said, look, take him out to rep, have him do the tryouts. Again, he was still younger. And I said, okay, let me see how this goes. And then again, you can kind of weigh out your skill level. So
Yeah.
he did make the team. He was obviously the youngest on the team. I should find footage. He's got like the biggest uniform,
Jerseys.
and he
Yeah.
actually joined this live. But we went and we were like, let's see how this goes. He played. It was with Brampton. He played with Brampton for that year, and he played on the B team. So I'll be
Mhm.
honest, he was on the B team. He didn't make the A team, and I wasn't expecting that. Throughout that year, the A team actually asked him to come up as call ups. So a couple of weekends we would go and he would be able to play on the A team. And he didn't get a lot of playing time, but he had that
Mhm.
opportunity to see how a real rep team works. So we did that. And then the following year, he tried out for an A team. It was a year younger. He was still, at that time, he was playing 2 years up. So when he went again, he was playing a year up. He made the A team. And then kind of how everything started. And then he's always played a year up. And I want to say when he hit grade 6, that's when he went to his own age group. And then that
Wow.
big difference because it was like these kids never knew who he was and they all thought he was older. And then once he came to his age group, that's kind of when he kind of took off.
Nice. Wow. And I see he's joined here too. So hi, Jalen. Yes, your mom's talking really well about you. So if you have anything to say in the comment, go ahead. Don't feel shy
Right?
about it. So that's good. That's a good experience because like you said, it wasn't a simple transition of jump. Like he knows how to shoot from the driveway. So all of a sudden he's going to be making it to the rep team. Everybody's journey is different. So it's great to hear how yours work. And I would say, it's not the same for everybody. Everybody, like same for us. We did house league, did rep, back to house league, like back and forth all the time because at the end of the day, you still want the kids to enjoy what they're doing. And it's not about me, it's
Yeah.
about them, which
Yeah.
is a great point to put out. Um, you did also mention a little bit about, communications with other parents and things like that. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that has helped you? Because we're not in this together, and sometimes we could be all in our head thinking, yes, well, he played with his cousin who's really not on the team. Like he shoots them. He plays with, his older cousins and brothers and sisters, and he can do this, and it's like, but why can he make it to the team? So that realistic aspect of it, what I call it driveway player versus playing on the court player, or any advice you can tell those parents that says, I see them do this, but why can my child get to this level? Anything that you can tell them or suggest to help them map it out on their way through this journey.
I think the first thing as a parent, like I've played soccer my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like not everybody is an athlete or has come from an athlete background, but I think the first step is honestly being honest with your child and realizing it's your child's
Yep.
doing like a big thing for parents. It's like they want their child to be a superstar, and they've created this ego for their kid, and it's like your kid's not even at that level. I think that's like where it needs to start, is be realistic.
Be realistic. Yeah.
I personally, I went on off on your poll, and I said I think the first step is go through house league, go through tryouts, go through and actually have an assessment done of your child and their skills, and be realistic. If your kid is not ready to be on a rep team, like, that's okay. Just start where they're ready and then let them progress. Because if you get them to start at rep and they're not ready, they're sitting on the bench. What fun is that? And then I've been at games where parents get upset when it's your kid's not playing. Your kid's not up to par. And that's just what it is. And it's just that hard realization. We've had a team fall out because of just all this politics.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those things, like, parents need to be realistic. It's their child's dream, and this is what their child is doing. Let their child have fun. Once it becomes like it's become like such a big business.
It's a business, and that's a whole different topic.
Crazy.
It's business.
And that's where Jalen's now grade 9, and that's where all of this is now starting. So it's a lot, but I think, like, at their younger age, let them just have fun. When it gets to, like, what school are you going to, at that time, okay, take it however you want to.
Yeah.
But when they're starting, just let them have fun.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the transition of moving from Canada to US, because as being here in Canada, most often the goal is you want to go to the States. You want to make it, you going to US is the only thing that everybody thinks of, making it big. And, they have to make it to the school. I want to play in a team that has scouts there. I want to play a team that so-and-so in NBA from Canada went to, so I can get there, and whatever the case may be. But your decision was a lot earlier than some people, because some of us may be waiting, because I honestly say Canada has great schools, so I'm not in any rush. No offense to the US either, but every child is different.
Yeah.
But during the pandemic, I believe that you had to make a huge decision. So talk us through a little bit about how that was for you and why that fits for you, and you and your child, for that journey that you guys are on.
Yeah. So Jalen left the beginning of COVID. He left in May 2020. 2020. Oh my God.
Yeah, already.
Left May. And it was more so because of that, again, that like jump is like he was going to high school. So over here, everything was shut down. We had no gyms open. All the games were closed, like canceled. So nothing was going on. There were a few like programs that were kind of running like behind the scenes that we would kind of hop on and go to, but no gaming. My brother actually lives in the US, so that was my benefit. He's out in Texas, and we had that conversation of, we knew Jalen was gonna go, we just didn't know when. Okay. So because of COVID, I said, look, nothing's happening right now. He's got to go. And then he's got to go because we need the scouts to look. We need to make sure he's out there to say, hey, you know what school are you going to go to for high school? Are you going to go to a prep school? Are you going to go to a regular school? Are you going to play EYBL? All of that was happening at that time. So my brother's out in Texas. He's like, come. My brother actually coached at one of the universities out there for the women's basketball. So my brother's obsessed with basketball, and I was actually pregnant at that time. So I was going through a whole bunch of other things, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to bring you to the gym every weekend. And
no,
that's not going to be possible. Whereas my brother, he'll live in the gym with Jalen. So that's how he went. And then obviously like this whole reclass, all that stuff, all of that went on. That was very interesting because it's very different over there. But he had to start, he did grade 8, and then now he's in high school over there now. But over there, everything was normal. Like, they were playing games. They were having
life went on.
Like, there was no, they didn't have, like, yes, there was COVID, but over there in the US, nothing changed.
Life went on. Yep. And we'll leave it as that. Life went on. Yeah. Regardless of which section that you were at. That's great. So that's a good point to make, because, most often everybody assumes that you just want to go there, pick a school, and then all of a sudden you become a big star or something like that. So while he's there, he may be being looked at, but is he just there as, I'm just here to play basketball and I'm number one now? Or is he still, everybody still see his talent and he's just working his way through it just like everybody else? Because here you may have been number one, but I always say you're number one only in your little circle until you get out of that circle and everybody's number one. So then who's one,
So
right?
I will brag a bit because I don't brag. He was ranked on some ranking. I don't know who ranked it, but it was for Canada and he was ranked number one. So
Good, good.
I will toot my horn on that. But going over there, you're nobody. They don't know who you are. They have no clue who you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I will say the one mistake I think we made is when he went, we didn't look to see what school he should go to,
Okay.
or like what team he should play on. So we just sent him and said, hey, I didn't know where he was. Like my brother's in Odessa. I didn't know how far Odessa was from Houston and how far it was from Dallas. They're 5 to 8 hour difference.
Wow.
So all your top teams are in those cities. So now I'm like, well, how do we get him there? So we did like the first couple months, it was a trial and error. It was okay, you're gonna go I contact the coach, he's gonna come to a trial, he's gonna come to a tournament. So it was trying to figure out what team fit him. And again, it was you're coming into that team is already situated.
Yes.
So and he's a player where you can kind of situate a team around him. So he's not a fill-in player. He's like, I don't say he's the player, but he's the player. Mm-hmm. So that was the difficult part at first, was trying to find a team that suited him. So that took a little bit. But after that, like we found a team and then it was like, okay, let's roll with that team. Let's just see how it goes and we're going to stay with them. So that has helped us. It's been wonderful.
Good. Good.
They now, like they kind of go to
finding the right fit and the right team is definitely a key point.
Because like they're like out there, they got a lot of talent. And I mean,
they live and breathe it more than we do.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I mean, like you're it here, but you got to prove yourself over there. So for the first bit, he was known as the Canadian kid, and I'm like, I kind of dig it. I like it. Like, where this Canadian kid come from? So
he came from Brampton, yes. So that's what they will put under his name, Brampton. Yeah.
So it worked out in that sense. But again, like we had to do a trial and error to try and figure out what fit him best.
I like that. And there was a comment earlier, and I just want to give it out to you that says the biggest advice that stick around this day for at you is that it don't depend on coaches to get your kids better. Invest into one-on-one training. Yes, and I always recommend that as well too. But to add to that one-on-one training, that will work on specific skills so that when they're in that team, it works. Because if I'm playing against a big man and every day I'm making the same shot, but when I'm playing against in a team and the opponent is a 5-foot or whatever, it may not work. And I've seen that. Yeah. So make sure you have the right trainer that knows your type of skills of play and help you refine that. That is key, because there is benefits to definitely have those individual one-on-one training. And what is it that you're doing? Is it just only about shooting that you need to work on, or moving your body or stretching, whatever it is? That is always my key point. Otherwise, we'll all be experts, in everything. But there are those who are dedicated. So, and if you need help finding those, let me know as well, too. I can definitely help you find those specific coaches that can help you work on that skills or expand on it. Definitely. So great point, too, that adding with it. Now, we're in the ball world, which is great. And we're in Toronto, which is awesome. And we're in the season now where you're getting offers and acceptance into making the team. You didn't make it to the team, go to house league, whatever. But in the end, you've made a key point. It's all about money. It's a business. And we're the one paying for the money, right? We're the one that's coming out of our pocket. We're the one that's working to pay for it. And one aspect of it, a lot of people work for different companies, and some people have their own organizations or businesses that they work for. And one thing I admire about you is you're a go-getter. You do multiple things. You're multi-talented. Heads up here to everybody. She did my eyebrows, which has been there phenomenal for so long. It made me look alive and not bushy or anything like that. You do tattoos. You do now. You're doing, financial advising and mortgage advising, which I think is great because with the amount of money that we're putting into this, and I know a lot of people always say don't talk about it. It's not about the money, it's about the experience. But yeah, the experience costs money. Nothing is free. Even love doesn't cost. Like it doesn't, it's not free. We've seen them on Netflix and all of that stuff, right? um Without us having to put our houses up for it, or trying to rent another car, or trying to get money from other family members. All these become financial aspects of it, and trying to support the kids in. So how did you decide to say, what, in addition to all of this, I want to be able to help parents out with these financial decisions, making sure like their biggest, purchases, their assets like homes and everything else that you have to do to make sure that it comes back to you. So you're not breaking, as the key word everybody keeps saying, generational wealth, generational curse, generational legacy. There's all these fancy terms. But at the end of the day, you still need to be able to make that financial decision to support these kids. So talk to us about your transitioning and helping parents understanding these financial aspect of it, and tying into being not just a sports family, but also a family that, whether they make it or not, you're not broke.
That's key. So I guess I'll just like put it out there. So I'm a single mom. And I think that was one of the biggest transitions for me. I'm not going from a two-parent income household anymore. It's just me paying for everything. And I think just me going and like experiencing, like being in the basketball gym, I see a lot of single moms there and I resonate with them, and I know it's expensive. Right now, what I'm focusing on is, like, I don't want to like categorize people, but there are a
Go
lot
ahead.
of women who are in this world and they are doing it as a single parent, but they're also renting. And they're renting because that's what they can afford. And I think right now what I'm trying to like cater to is figuring out, look, what are your expenses today? What can you afford? And kind of getting you into a home. But then also from that home, what can you use? Can you use the equity in your home to be able to basically provide these opportunities for your kids?
Yeah.
I think there's a misconception as like not everybody's going to be a homeowner. And like right now, I get it. Interest rates are high. I get that. And it is more difficult. But I think starting off with that conversation of where do I start? There's a lot of misconceptions about just even your down payment, like just to that extent.
Yes.
People need to start having financial conversations and realizing like they may think they're like crappy, but it's like there's a lot of people who are in that same boat.
Yep.
It's got to create a plan, and you got to get out of that plan, and you got to stick to it. And then again, once you are in home ownership, like there's perks to it. Again, you can take out the equity of your home. If your kid has to go to a prep school and you don't have the money to do that, we can refinance your home and you can get that. Not to refinance your home where you're losing it, but you're refinancing it, you're getting it at a lower rate, but you're also able to take out some of that equity to be able to provide that opportunity.
Exactly. So you're reinvesting back into the
Yeah.
property and still supporting the
Yeah.
children, and you still be able to keep your home. You're not homeless. You can still keep
Yeah.
your car. Gases are high. All
Mhm.
these things add up. And like I said, in the beginning of the season, everything is money. Everything is,
I heard the
whether
price
you're
is
whether
up.
you're doing the
Woo,
one-on-one training
a
as
lot.
mentioned before, whether you're adding additional team training, whether you're buying shoes that they grow out of it by the hour. Everything costs money. Where is
Yeah.
it coming from? You don't want to be just only depend on your credit card. You want to be
Yeah.
depend on the same job that's coming in. It's already set, like you're on salary, so there's no raise. You're not, you even have the extra hour or the extra day to be able to get a part-time job just because you have 3 practices a week, you have tournaments every weekend. Like every month, every resource you have is sort of put it into. So with the parents that's thinking of that mindset, what are some things you can tell them? Because it's like, it's great for you, easy to say, yeah, you're a single mom. I could connect with you,
Yeah.
but I've been in this job for how long? This is all I get paid. My hours are this. I don't have extra day. Even getting them to like, there's always like reasons or excuses or what if scenario. What are some things that you will say help them think about it to say it's great, but have you ever thought about it this way?
So I guess I kind of just use me as an example. I was working full time. I had a salary, or still have a salary. So I actually work full time right now, and then I have my mortgage on the side. And then I also, as you mentioned, I do have an eyebrow business. I have put my eyebrow business on hold just because I'm crazy busy. But again, I think it starts with the reason I got into mortgages was realistically, like, I knew I needed money and I needed money right away. I can work my job today and I could bust my butt for 80 hours for that week. I'm still going to get my salary pay. So I needed something that I could go into knowing, hey, you know what, I can bust my butt, but I can also have a payout. And like, you don't need to go into mortgages and you don't need to go into a whole second new career. You can start off small, and like esthetician stuff, like for women, is booming
It's
right
big
now.
business.
Since COVID, you have a lot of services that you can run through in your home. And if you don't want to run it through your home, you can actually be mobile. My cousin used to do my nails. She was mobile. She came to me and she used to do my nails, and she's making like 150 a session. So there are ways to go. But again, you got to start off with a plan. You got to realize if you're good at something, go ahead and do it. And if you don't have anything specific, you got to talk to friends, family, kind of narrow it down to what you can do. I do see a lot of people promoting like Amazon products, like online, and promote it. And if you have a following, you can make money off of that. So you're not even really doing anything.
Yeah,
But if
that's called affiliate links. Just so for those who are watching, if you're looking for additional income, without having to, I don't know, sell an arm and a leg, definitely that's one option. I like that. That's good. Now, talk about a little bit more about, that decision, because it's not easy for a lot of people to go back to school. Okay, to relearn what we learn right now, trying to understand grade 10 science and math with my kids is hard. I'm like, oh my God, this is why I made sure I got 50 in French so I don't have to repeat again. Why do I have to do this again? Oh my goodness. Like, it's hard, right? We have so much going on in our head as parents. Even when the kids are talking, you're thinking of different things. But at the same time, it always comes down to, I need extra funds. I need extra money. What else can I do? So you already mentioned about finding where your skills are, talking to family members. What other things, or how did you realize that I'm not going to just depend on my regular company pay as my only base? Because obviously that's helped you to get you where, but you also get to a point that it's not enough. There needs to be a little bit more. Like, I didn't come this far to come this far, as the quote says, right? So what are some other ways that you can tell, mainly to the parents and the moms, who are like, how am I going to be able to support this season? Every fee went up, but I still want them to keep going, right?
Coach, I heard the prices and I was actually shocked. I thought they would come down because COVID is kind of over, quote unquote, but the fees for gyms are still the same. So that I found really interesting, because I was like, oh, I was expecting a little drop, but there's no drop. But realistically, I think when it comes down to it, it's like, I think you need to sit down. Everybody says they're busy. Are you really busy? And is what you're doing, like, is it benefiting you? I have a calendar at home and everything is like color coded. So I know when I have time to do things. And I think if you start there, like I said, I'm a plan junkie. You got to plan your day out, because you can even plan time for yourself. And in that time for yourself, you're figuring out, what do I do? What can I do? When your kids go to sleep, take an hour, half an hour, and say, what am I good at and how do I get here? You got to start somewhere. And I feel like for me, it was like my back was against the wall and I was like, this is, your kids only have you. You got to do something. And that's when I really started, like, okay, where do I start? How do I get there? The course I took, I started actually the course for the mortgage by myself, doing it online by myself. And then I quickly realized I'm never going to get through this, because I'm booking like an hour here, 2 hours here. I'm like, never going to get it done.
Something always come up. Yeah.
Always. So what I did was I looked in, they had an online seminar for 1 week, from 9 to 5 for 1 week. And it was literally information overload. And I said, you know what? I'm going to have that information overload because I'm going to be in a classroom with other people who are going to have questions. I'm going to learn that way. And I did it from Monday to Friday, 1 week. On the following Monday, I wrote my exam.
Wow.
So
straight to the point.
Straight to the point. Like, I already knew what was going on. Let's go. Let's get this done and let's get it started. You have to have a plan, and you got to start, and you have to believe in yourself. And I think that's the key thing, is believing you can do it.
Yeah. Oh man, I like that. Believe you can do it. It's true because we do give a lot of positive words to the kids, and they watch what we
Yeah.
do versus what we say. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm becoming more mindful of what I do versus what I say. Because if I'm telling them believe in yourself, but they see me not believing or doing the opposite, of course, you're going to retaliate back to themselves
Yeah.
because we're the adults in the relationship trying to tell them what to do. So
Yeah.
definitely, good point. So yeah, so if you are in that realm, like, fees are up, everything's up, food is up,
I would say
gas is up.
I feel like kids nowadays don't fundraise, or teams nowadays don't fundraise. I feel like
Yeah.
like even car washes. I haven't seen a car wash run by a sports team in a long time.
Ooh, good point.
Growing up, we used to have like car washes like every month, and it would be a whole day, and that's what we would do for the day just to raise money for our teams. So
Mm-hmm.
they're up. You got to find a way to make it, and a lot of parents kind of rely on the coaches. Coaches are not always wanting to fundraise. The reason
No.
they don't want to fundraise is because they don't want to have to run it. So if
Yep.
you have somebody on your team who can run it, if you have a team manager, if you have somebody on that team who can step up, run it. And whatever you guys can make from that will offset all of your costs.
I agree. And that's exactly. And then regardless of how you're even doing it, the family members will be more supportive because they want to come and see little Billy or little Bob or whatever. I don't know, I'm making up names here. Play. I'm supporting their team and they're
Yeah.
gonna get the new jersey. Jersey fees are up, balls are up, shoes are up, like everything is up except
Yeah.
pay. So
Yeah.
this is definitely a great way to still support a team. Another way to find ways to help yourself to offset these costs. And I love that how you say you are like a strategic planner, right? Because you put it in there and you have to commit. And that doesn't take a lot of effort, but it does take a lot of effort. So for me, like I said, I have color coded on my calendar between the two kids and different shifts and like all the time. I'm repeating myself over and over all the time with our schedule. And one thing I like to do is indicate what's going on a week to week basis for
Yeah.
ourselves. And I try to stick with it. Sometimes it may go as planned and sometimes it doesn't. I just pray over it every week. God, order myself to make sure that my plan goes according to your wishes, whatever
Yeah.
the case may be. For those who, based on whatever their situations may be, it may not work. I think one of the key points you offered was online courses.
Yeah.
What other ways or other venues through online can people use to also find their skills and be able to educate or get themselves to that level so they don't feel blocked out and say, I can't afford this, but my kids want it. I can't afford this, but I want it. And I always say when they're done and graduate and living their life, what's left for me? You know what I mean? And we got to be able to make sure that we're still stabilized in our lives too. So some things are, how did you come up in finding that online aspect of it and making sure that it's dedicated, structured to your lifestyle in addition to raising the kids?
So honestly, I just want to say you have to start. Um, for me, it was like I didn't know if it was going to work for me or not. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I just said, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and I had to figure out a plan after I figured out, okay, I'm going to go online for this course. Because I at the time I actually had my son with me, and he was maybe like maybe
He
2 or 3
learned it with
months.
you.
He was right there with me. And that's why I get like I do hear stories and it's like, oh, I'm a mom or I just had a baby. It's like I don't want to say like they're excuses, but they're excuses. You gotta find a way. My baby's been on my hip. I never took mat leave. So again, you have to figure out what you want long term. It's gonna be rough. Like
Mm-hmm.
expect that roughness. You're going to go through it, and you just have to believe in yourself that you're going to get through that. And
Yes.
just stay consistent. It's only you can create like what you want for your future and for your kids. Like you got to depend on you. I don't want to say don't depend on anybody else, but just know it's
It
you.
starts with you.
It's with you. So
Yeah.
as long as you can you can do that for yourself, you can do anything. And I've learned like going through this process, I've learned so much of just starting.
Just start.
Just
Just
starting.
do
Once
it. Just
you
start.
start,
Literally, just start.
like literally figure it out. If it comes down to finances where you can't afford it, see if you can get somebody to help you. If people know that you're trying to better yourself, there's a lot of people who are going to help you. But if you keep your mouth shut, nobody's going to know. And that was one thing that I had to really work on, is I had to ask for help when I needed it. Like if I need a break, hey, can you watch the kids for like an hour just so I could sleep?
Yeah.
And you have to ask. And like, there's going to be people who are going to say no. And there's going to be people that are going to support you 100%. And you kind of also got to weigh out your circle. Who's like, what's your support team like?
Yes.
Are they really supporting you? Because if they're actually supporting you in your dreams, they're going to help you as much as they possibly can to see you succeed. But like I said, you got to start. Once you are stuck on what you want to do, you will figure it out.
You figure. I like that. I like the circle aspect of, because throwing it back into the whole realm of motherhood and raising kids and being on the team, circle is so important. It is so true. You do have to have the right kind of people. And I always tell my kids, I have friends, I only talk about cooking and food. I have friends, I only talk about careers. I have friends that we talk about music. There are friends we talk about what's going on TV. There's different aspects of it. You do. We're multifaceted people. There's different people for different things, and I'm not always going to have the same conversation with some people on the same level. But these are circles that you know that if something's needed, you can reach out to. And if they said once or twice no, okay, maybe third time they might say yes. But you're right. Do speak up. Start, and then do definitely ask for that help. And when people know you're trying to make yourself better, most often they will support. And I agree with that. And if you don't have that support system, reach out to us. We can help you. We'll find a way. We got you. Nobody needs to go through these processes alone, especially when you're trying to make something better for yourself and your kids' future. I definitely agree to that. Another point I want to find out from you is, what are some things, why is having these financial literacy, especially from a parent's perspective, is so important? I mean, good for you that you've worked hard to make sure that you have all these financial backup for yourself. You put yourself up to make sure that you're not just, depending on one income. By doing this, your kids are seeing you pushing yourself and going to the next level. Okay, let's say Jalen makes it to the MBA. Great. Does that mean your career is ended? You're going to just live off of him? No, you're still a human being before him and after him and during him. So what are some of the financial advices that you would tell parents in being aware on this journey that, yes, the fees will go up, but how to make sure that we're managing it as it goes up on a personal basis, on a financial and smart financial decision basis?
So I think the first thing, I think parents need to understand it as well. Like, I think that's the first key, is just being financially literate, understanding like what credit is, like how your money works, like what you need to do, just being responsible. Once your kids see that, I'd say they kind of would follow you to know, but you can also have those conversations with them. My daughter, for when I had my eyebrow business, she was my executive assistant. She wanted to get paid. I said, okay, cool. This is what you need to do. You want to help? Let's run. Hey, you're a part of my business now, but now you have a responsibility. So I'm sure you have like your takeaway bag, which had all of your products for your aftercare. She put those together. I would tell her, this is what I need in these bags. This is how I need it to look. This is what needs to get done. If I need 10 today, I need you to do the 10. And then once you're done, I'm going to pay you for the 10 that you did. And I didn't pay her every time she did it. I paid her on a weekly basis.
Okay.
Understood, like I have a payday.
Yes. The money doesn't come in just like that.
It doesn't just come. You have a payday.
And did you end up taking tax from it? Because I did that with my kids. I became the tax woman. I'm like,
I did.
Because
I needed her to understand, like, money doesn't grow on trees.
No.
This is what you need to do. You have a responsibility. You're not going to get paid today for what you did. You're going to get paid on your payday. So buck it out. You're going to be upset because you're like, oh my God, I'm working so hard. But guess what? On Friday, you're going to have payday. And guess what? We're going to Claire's, and you can do whatever you need to do in Claire's. But even if you would go, let's say she made
You're not spending it all back.
You're not spending all of it.
Yeah.
So I would say, look, you can buy something, but you're buying one thing, or we would cap it at an amount. Buy whatever you want, and then when you get paid again, you're putting that money back, but you're also going to try and put that money back plus some. so
Yes.
that you can kind of start to save your money. And then when she wants a Nintendo DS, I think it's a DS. I didn't even know,
I don't
but
even know what level they're at
when I
anymore.
yeah, been wanting for so long, and I said, you know what, you could pay for it. Like you got
Hmm.
your own. So now it's like we're saving for something. So
I
now she's
love
like,
it.
hey, I can't touch it. I'm gonna save for it.
Yes.
But again, I think the one other thing is when it comes to like finances in these kids, they all see these NBA players. How many NBA players have you heard have filed bankruptcy?
Exactly.
How many of them said, hey, I had an accountant and he robbed me?
Exactly.
So having that understanding of how money works is crucial. I think
Life.
changed it where you have to take a finance course before
Mm.
I think you get into the NBA. But I think that is key, is like just understanding how money works, where money goes. What do I do? If you have a
Hmm.
parent who is financially literate, you can use them. But if you don't have a parent who is financial literate, I think all kids need to hear this. Not because they're family, you can trust them. Because I've seen a lot of cases, like I have professional athlete like friends who give their parents money in a sense of
Hmm.
to hold it, and they
Yeah.
spend
And it's
money.
gone.
It's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I just gave you that money for you to hold it for when I need it. Now I need it. And now you're living your life splurging.
Exactly.
So when it comes to your circle, you got to really weigh out who's there for you. And I get it, it's family, but sometimes family's there to ring in that reap of you being successful.
I agree.
So everybody's got
Make
and financially literate to understand the whole process so that everybody
mhm,
can just move forward.
move forward. I like that. And there's a comment that came from Miss Nikki from NBA, Nikhil's mom. Thank you so much for your comments. I love what you're doing with these sessions. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Like we're trying, I know in the early stages for you guys, you know, you had to go through and weave this through yourself. And I know I've never before she shared such great knowledge. I'm hoping I'm going to reach out to you again. We're going to have you here as well to share your journey and experiences with everybody as well. But you're right. It starts basic understanding of understanding how money works. Because if you're going to buy that new shoes that's coming in because the new season is started, is it really worth it? Right. One example is we were at sneaker con this weekend, and I went to see how it is. I didn't go as a consumer. I went differently, and we made it clear to the kids like we're going as not as a consumer. You're going to see how the process works. So put your money in your pocket because you already have shoes. Your need does not automatically pop up just because you see all these flashes. Understanding when to spend versus when to save.
Yeah.
Those shoes, I said, get their contacts, reach out to them. They're all virtual, they're all digital. They'll be more than willing to connect with you afterwards if you really feel like my shoe that I have, my toe was sticking out and now I need a new one.
Yeah.
That's when you make it. So it definitely understands. It starts with home and understanding how money works. And that's why I wanted you to hear, because I want you to share that decision making. We can tell them,
Yeah.
and it's great to tell them, but if they don't see ourselves doing it, it's hard.
Yeah.
And one thing that you did is you made it a decision. You started, you stuck with it, said, no, I'm going to complete this course in 1 week. I'm going to dedicate 5 to 8 hours a day and making sure it's there, and they see you working at it, and then you can now come back and share these knowledge with us, which is great because now you've lived that experience. So you're not just picking up from YouTube channel, somebody doing fancy, presentation from PowerPoint, and all of a sudden I'm an expert. No, you actually live in it and coming from that experience. So thank you for that, because I do love all your tidbits that you share. You're realistic about it, understanding even interest rates. People, the news comes on, you're like, yeah, but what does that actually mean? It
Yeah.
means how you break it down to the nitty gritty of even the extra grocery bag that you're going to be buying, and how that break down into it, and how you can put that 25 cents aside of buying an extra bag or versus a coffee and using that to do something else. So you can now become a homeowner or buy a second home, buy an property for investment or whatever the case may be. Like, you break it down to that detail that it's so great. I love it. I love it. I love it. Keep bringing that to us. But I wanted to find out for you too, and you did talk about how you work with your daughter about the whole financial aspect of it. For parents who say, well, I don't know about money, I just get paid, and I just pay my bills and I pay their fees or whatever. How early should we be starting financial literacy with the kids? You did mention that even doing your course, Jace was there with you. If he's under a year and he's still learning mortgages and finances and everything with you, who knows what he's looked up in and how long it's going to take him to, use that in his stages in his life. But what would you say is some of the early stages that we as parents can start talking about financial literacy in a realistic way with the kids, so they know that just, going to the tournament, paying $25 is not as simple as just swiping your card. It comes with a lot of understanding of how money works.
I don't think there's an age. I think as whenever you're ready, like the younger they are, the more they're going to soak up.
Mm-hmm.
For me, my kids have known. I think just being open about expenses is key. I think there's a lot of like hiding us, like how much do you make for like your salary? So I've showed my kids my paycheck, because I think they have this idea is like mom's bank account is unlimited.
It's infinite.
And the tap thing, I'm just gonna tap it. Jalen, I should actually say this. Jalen, one time I had 2 bank cards, and I gave him a bank card and I said, hey, like if you need anything, here you go. So I wasn't really paying attention to the bank card. So one day I went into the account and I'm seeing all these like $5, $5, $5. I was like, what is he buying? So he used to take the transit. He would get off the bus and there would be a pizza shop right there before we would walk home. So he was like, I'm just going to go get pizza on my way home. And he would do this every day. And I was like, you don't even know how much money is in this account. You're just it's not like you called and said, hey, can I get pizza? No, you're just tapping this card. Yeah. And you need to understand there's not an unlimited amount in this card here. So that's when it was like, oh, okay, like how much money's actually on this card? And I would tell him like, okay, let's say you have $25 for the week. That's got to last you 5 days. So you need to work it out so that it's going to last you that long. And then again, I would show them my paycheck. I have my taxes come out. My taxes are crazy. I have like my health insurance, like all my benefits. All of that is deducted. And here you go. You can see the whole chart. I don't get paid.
Gross income versus net income. Yep.
So now they kind of have an understanding. I kind of show them like I do a lot of budgeting like in Excel. I'm an Excel junkie. So I put my pay stub and I put all my expenses for that month. I put it there and I see like how much money I have left, and they can see it all. So they can see, hey, if I need $100, they know if mom has $100 or not. And if I don't have $100 this week, I'm not going to put myself out to be like, here you go. No, we're waiting till my next pay if you need it for my next pay. Like we're being realistic. I'm not putting myself in a financial like crisis because you need a new pair of shoes. It's not going to happen. Your shoes you're going to be okay for another week.
You'll be fine. Yep.
You're fine. You're fine for like 6 months. Like really, like you don't need a new shoe, but I get it. But it's just being open and talking about your finances. Nobody wants to talk about this stuff. And that's another thing that I want to talk more about with people is just come forward. I don't care what your background is, what you have going on. Just be open and let's plan something to help you.
I like that. So don't be shy about the numbers or anything like that, because at the end of the day, whether you make $5, $15, $50, $500, whatever the case may be, everybody's situation is different. I definitely agree. I've had the same situation with the tap in. I said, I'm going to remove that balance in there and let's see what happens when you tap and go, there's nothing. Just to give you the understanding that it's not consistently overloaded and everything has to work. And for us, I think what helped is during the lockdown, I ended up working from home. So he sees, okay, I'm working. So it's not like I just drive to work and do nothing. Like you see it. And opening up about how much you get paid. It's an on and off battle. I think that a lot of parents may not be comfortable with, depending on where they are in the situation. But I do recommend that it is true. Be open about it and let the kids know that money. We always say money doesn't fall in tree, but there's got to be a way to let them know that. And as I always say, especially if you're in the sports field, you do not want to be raising a broke athlete. No, definitely not.
Expected expenses with basketball. And that's why when we talked about like house league and whatnot, my main thing was like, you need like a prerequisite with this world, with this like basketball world. And it's like, you have parents who come who have no idea as to what expenses are going to come, and they're shocked when it's like, okay, you have to pay for, like, we have, like, if we go away for the tournament, we have dinners. So you be prepared, because guess what? There's going to be a team dinner. Like, if you don't grow
that's
up like
part of the fee. Your hotel fee, that's part of it. Your transportation, that's part of it. Entrance fee, that's part of it.
All of these little fees that up, and you need to be prepared. This is not, oh, I paid my $1,500 and I'm free to go for the rest of the season. No. When you want to go watch your kid play, guess what? You have an admission fee. Like, you need to know this. And I say, like, you just need a little bit. Like, I think we talked about having a little book. This is what's these are the fees that are gonna spark up here and there.
It's coming. It's coming. I'm putting that together. It's coming.
Yeah, it's
to help out on how to welcome to House League, welcome to rec basketball, and different aspects of it. And then what I'm going to be doing is also showing from the business side of it what their costs are as to how they break it down that it falls into us, because they have admins have to be paid. Coaches have cars. Coaches have to travel. Coaches have to buy the uniform. They have to buy from a manufacturer. It's a whole circle of business.
Yeah. I just talking to a coach about that, because he was like, well, I think, like, with tryouts, he's like, tryouts should go to like October, November, and then we can kind of figure out, so like all the leagues know what's going on. I think my biggest thing on like the leagues, not to call anybody out, but it's like the scheduling stuff. Okay, but that's a whole
yes.
But
and on point of that is this year, for the top 3 different organizations at their leagues, all of their tournaments are the same weekend.
Oh, wow.
Same weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, so we'll leave it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have two. So
I think that alone. But then I think on top of that is, like, they have to pay these leagues. And it's like, if you're here like, oh my God, I got to pay $1,500. Guess what? They are now forking out. And if they're one of these brand new teams, they don't have the funds to cover it. So I've always said, if you don't have the funds to cover it, those programs, or like the leagues, they should kick you out.
Yeah.
And they need to hold like all teams accountable. Hey, you need to get your fees in by X amount of date. Because I'm not having a team enter in the last week of a session.
Well, on top of that, I would say even the organizer should have a strict timeline, as you talked about, having plan. If you have a tournament coming in January, what is your work back schedule? Deadline for all teams, and you stick with it. You know, going back into mortgages, you don't go back to the bank and say, oh, I'm not going to be able to pay for the next 3 months, but don't worry about it. I'm just going to go to Vegas. I'm going to do this. No, the bank is like, oh, you can't pay, but you're doing tapping. Okay, there you go. So honoring what you're saying versus what you're doing has to be matching. So if you're going to register for a tournament or a team, exactly, get your finances in place. And like I said, it always falls back on us as parents, but understanding how those leagues work. And we'll have a whole discussion about the league aspect of it, because there's pros and cons and it gives opportunities. But you're right. Maybe what you could be also doing is give financial advice to the leagues and the organizers on that side too, because it is a business. And businesses do need help. Businesses do need support for finances. Some may have got grants from the government, but those only lasted for how long? Right? And you can't keep getting, loans and grants forever. You can't live off credits forever. And everybody is in their fields about it's my money, so I have every right to this. Not really. No. Not really. And it's great. And somebody says, yes, call out the leagues, LOL. Yes, Hooper's Paradise. Shout out to you guys. I agree. I mean, there's good and bad to it. I'm not going to, knock anybody down. These are great opportunities for all of us at various levels, and it also should let the kids play. Let us, as parents, see each other, communicate, have fun. It keeps us moving, because we've been locked down for 2 years. This is a great way to come back. There is a comment that says they need a balance of business and helping the youth grow the game. It's just one-sided for now. Yes, I agree. And to quote a good friend that had told me this before, you need to identify whether you are the owner or an employee. If you're running your league, you need to differentiate the two, whether you are the business person or the employee. You can't be both. You got to differentiate between the two so that you can separate yourself and say, if I'm the owner, I run it as a business. If I'm an employee, I run as a business. If I'm a parent, I run as a business. Because right now, definitely the one-sided, I think we all can agree on, is run as a business. And the development side is definitely going on the downside. And it's really, really hard on the parents. It's hard on the kids. It's hard on everybody. And it's like someone told me once, like, I'm over it. And it's hard. It is. To
It's
hear
hard.
that.
I think, like, I don't mean to be mean. Like, I look at like the US and how they run it. They've been running it like a business. But I think over in Canada, with when it comes to like athletics, I feel like we kind of handhold. Um, and I think right now, because there's not a lot of hand holding and people are running it like a business, it's like you got to be realistic about your kid's skill level.
Mm-hmm.
It's not ready. Your kid's not making that team.
Nope.
And it sucks, but it has to happen. Um,
We need a closed door.
yeah,
Exactly. Like if I only want 12, that's it. The
that's it.
12 is done. You can't
Yeah,
just keep bringing different people in every day, different times. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's got to be structured. These are 12 for the year. Next year we
that's it.
try again. If there's a spot,
Yeah,
you come in. If
yeah.
we're building team one, team two, then you come in. I agree. That structure is, I think, what's lacking. And I love the growth. I'm not gonna lie. I love the growth, but with growth, we have to identify quality versus quantity, and that's my
Okay.
key point.
I'll put this out there. I'm happy my kid's not here right now for high school because of the prep programs. I'll be
Ah,
I'm I'm happy. I have
yes,
to
I
watch it.
will actually be having a different
Crazy.
prep talk later on coming
I
up
heard
to
you had
help.
one with the mom. She's out in Alberta, and I think they had like three. I don't.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you how many are out here.
I can't either. There's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot, and that's just within the
Yep.
GTA alone.
Yep.
There's a lot, and
Yeah.
everybody wants to be
Who
the
wants
top.
that one?
That one I have to bring my
That one you
wine.
gotta have a whole panel. Everybody's gotta come.
I will do that. Like that will just be your mind because that definitely we need clarity on where the goal is.
Yeah.
What is the goal for all of this? Because even though our basis topic here is all about the financial aspect of it, nobody wants to feel like the money is going wasted. You want to make sure that you're getting value back in what you're supporting the kids, whether you're paying a registration fee, whether you're paying for a trip, whatever it is, it needs to be something coming back for the kids, as well as parents saying, yes, I've done that. We don't send our kids to school to learn 1 plus 1 is 2, and then they come back and tell me 1 plus 1 is 3. Like you'd be pissed, right? You're like, who's this teacher doing that? So we definitely need that great structure, understanding all these growth that's coming in. What is the end goal for it? Is it just because somebody played pro in some other country for a certain period of time and they can just start their own? That's great. That's opportunity. But what are the skills
Yeah.
that we assess it? Now, getting back into Jalen being in the US though, and then just comparing the game level at the high school level to here, what are some two things that you've noticed is different between how the US run theirs versus how Canada is running it? One thing is you mentioned already is the prep, but overall with regards to the skill level or the dedication aspect of it, like what have you seen between the two?
Um, so right now he's at a regular high school. He's not at a prep school. And that was one of our biggest things is, are we going to put you in a prep school or can you play at a regular high school in the area? So he's at a regular high school. The one difference I think over there, and I think we're kind of getting there now, is the US run their kids as a business.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no, like once you're in a sport, that's the sport you're playing and you're going to dedicate all your time to it. He's right now, he wakes up 5 a.m. He's in the gym with, like, there's another boy that lives down the street. They go to the gym. They're at the gym 5 a.m. shooting. Over here, I don't want to say like it's not happening because again, I'm not here to see it, but I just think
Not
that
much.
it's different. I feel like there's a lot of older male role models in the US that will give them those opportunities. just to get into contact with people. Everybody has a gym over there. Everybody has some contact. Over here, I think it's getting there, but I don't think the dedication is the same.
Okay.
It's different. And I just read one. The culture is definitely not the same. It's definitely not. My first like tournament in the US, I will never forget this woman. She had a basketball mom glitter t-shirt and our team won. So we're coming from Canada. Once you have Toronto in your name, you're in a whole
Different
ballpark.
category. Yeah, they look at you different.
They
Yeah.
look at you like, what? And we won the championship. And that woman was pissed. And I've never seen a person ever, but this is like my first experience in the basketball world. I was like, holy, this is real. And
Yes.
that day I was prepared to go there. I knew they're going to see Toronto. I'm coming in. They're going to hear my mouth.
Yeah.
Will vouch. I know all the rules. I've talked about learned to being a ref.
Yeah.
I'll do it. But I made sure I learned all the rules so that when I'm opening up my mouth screaming, I'm screaming something factual. And it's night and day. It's getting better over here, but we also travel a lot to the US. So if you don't travel to the US, you have no idea what's over there. But just the dedication alone is
different. Okay, that's a good point because it's true. I mean, say 5 a.m. you're in the gym, unless you definitely have that one coach or trainer who's willing and say, okay, yeah, I have the gym free or whatever the time slot is. Come in, do it an hour, come back home, shower, and go. I think at this stage here, you're only seeing it from the senior level on the older kids because they're getting you ready to decide what school they want to go to. But as we said earlier, if your little Johnny is in the driveway doing this early on and they can play with their uncles and shoot the ball and it's great, and this is what they want, maybe that's something to look into. As a comment was earlier, dedicating to one-on-one training. And one-on-one training, where is it being done? What are the days of the week is doing it? What are the times doing it? How much time you really putting into it to make sure that this is what they're truly going into. Not to get away from school or anything because that comes first, but the dedication aspect from the athletic side. I agree, and a lot of people are agreeing with you that these are facts that you're talking about, and definitely. So I am happy for you that you've taken that step and leap of faith and work hard to get your kid into where he's doing something that he loves and he's growing. And in the back of my mind, I know Toronto and Canada is going to claim him at some point because that always happens. Like, oh, we raised him. Meanwhile, I wanted to hear from somebody who's going through it. Yes, he's from here. He started here, house league. But you had to make that decision because this is what he wanted. And you're putting him in through this process to go to school in the States and experience it. God willing, however far he gets, I'm sure he remember his roots. But I also want to just shout it out to the leagues and organizations. Don't be so quick to claim them back unless you are checking with them every stage, every process of their stage. Because they did house league with you when they were 4 years old, don't claim them when they get to a certain level at a pro level that it was our house league that got them. This is clearly an example that it started. But this middle gap here is where you need to reach out.
Trouble on.
Right? This is the middle where you need to reach out and say, hey, he was part of our league at some point. We haven't seen you guys here for a while. How is it going? How are you doing as a mom? How are you doing as a dad? What's going on? Is there anything we can do to help you? So that when they get to that level, you can say, we've been with you through that. Not when and I can mention there are various different, pro athletes now that everybody all of a sudden find that one little Kodak picture to showcase that, he was with us. No, he wasn't.
And I don't know who's online, but they did do that. I will say they took a picture of Jalen and it has circulated. It has continued to circulate. And it's not like he's getting paid, but it has continued to circulate. And it's that idea that, oh, Jalen's going to be at this camp.
Yeah.
He's there.
He was with us.
He was there. I tell you, their lives, he was involved. I was like, you're using him.
Yeah, you is. Which I will talk about a little bit more later as well too, as part of the series, which is the whole NIL. So that's a way for you to claim your financial money back from these individuals utilizing your kid's picture without your authorization. Because every single time they do and post it, it feeds back to them. And they're getting the feeds, they're getting the followers, they're getting the acclaim and all of that and the credit for it. But there's
Yeah.
a way as an athlete to earn that back.
Because I think there's benefits, and I think like there are non-benefits to it. But I think that is oh, can't wait.
It needs to go. So key point to the parents. Take your own pictures of your kid and save it on your phone. You decide to release when you're comfortable based on what stage your child is.
Yeah.
If the club is doing a group picture, that's great. You're authorized when you sign in or whatever. But especially if you're on that journey, I would say take those pictures on your phone, have a Google Cloud, save it there, put an external a hard drive, put on iCloud, wherever. There's so many different ways to save it. Create a folder, keep them there just like we do with the videos, so you can go back and refer to it on your account, not somebody else. You can tag those people if you feel like it, but definitely that's one key point. And that's one thing I try to do, protect anybody who allows me to show their kids. I always get authorization from a parent first. And I always give them a copy of it because you want to be owner of that information. Digital information is another point that is so important. We're recording all over, but who owns it? There's a way to find a way that you can own that to it. But that's great. And somebody definitely agrees with you on that, saying even if they take, even if they train one day, they will claim. Yeah, I've seen that.
For sure. For sure. The other thing I would hope, like if you have somebody that can talk about it, is their social media, like these kids' social media. I was blocked off TikTok from my child. But it was because I was like, hey, you can't put such and such and such out there. Like people are going to watch this. And I said, when you delete it, it's still in the cloud. So somebody can pull that up. So I've had that conversation and I got blocked. But I was like, okay, I get it. You want your privacy, but you got to remember, we look at all the celebrities. They have stuff on Twitter that comes out 10, 15 years later. They can pull that stuff up. So be very mindful of what you put out on social media.
I agree. I agree. Okay, that's why they have ghost accounts. Yes. And even with those ghost accounts, if anybody want to know how you can find those, I can help you. I do coding. I build my own website. I do SEO search. Listen, nothing is ever obsolete. The internet lives forever. It's been living long before us. It will live after it. If anything, it's getting even bigger and bigger, and screenshots are there, screen recordings are there. WhatsApp is about to release a screenshot blocking or something within their system, apparently, to prevent people from screenshotting your pictures. They've updated where your pictures can only be viewed for 24 hours, whatever. Like all these things are there. But the question is, once you delete, does anybody know where it's going? Who's controlling the information? And there's a way. So I do have someone just working on the scheduling for her to come here and share about cyber safety, social media safety, to us parents too, because, we look at it and we do it for fun. We may think it is, but we also need to protect our information as well as we're protecting them. And as they get older, it's great. Yes, people always say, keep your account open. Scouts will look at you. If the path is there, they will find you. You don't need to have your account public for it to fully be found. That is key point. You can always keep it private and find a way. Your right coaches in your circle will know how to vet for you to get to the right contact who will see the right videos and right information, be able to connect with you. So I definitely agree with that. Yes, so thank you for that recommendation. I will reach out to that individual and make sure that I bring that in so we can, I'm just here to make sure that everybody's protected in some ways. The information is there, and sometimes you may think you're in this alone, but we're not. We're in it as a unity. We're a team. And what I know, I like to share, and I love that what you're always sharing, whether it be about finding other ways to have income,
Mhm.
finding other ways to secure that income, whether it be through mortgages, whether it be financial literacy, helping your kids, and just also living a fabulous life the best way that you can. And you do it so good. I love it. I love it. I love it. And thank you to everybody that also tuned in, adding in their comment.
Yep.
These definitely help. Samantha, you are definitely a gem. I'm so glad our paths have crossed and will continue to cross throughout many, many years to come.
Yes.
I love it. And any last words from you?
Thank you for having me. Again, I think you still need a panel, so I'm still gonna put that out there. But yeah, if you need anything when it comes to mortgages, mom life, basketball life, reach out. And then I'll talk to whenever you guys want to reach out, and we
How
can.
can we find you? How can they find you?
And hit me up on Instagram. My mortgage page is called Strategic Sima.
Mhm.
And then my personal page is my Sima. So either way, DM me. My email contact is in there as well. So if you need to email me, please do. And if you need to book a meeting, we can schedule that as well.
Thank you so much. It was a good
Thank you.
lunch. I
I
love
know.
it. Happy Friday, everybody. Awesome.
Thank
Awesome. See you.
Bye.